did I stop? Because I realized I disconnected, but I don't know where I stopped. Okay. Just so we're safe, because it's a bit. Okay. All right. So since no one is telling me yet, what I'll do is I'll just go to where I think I disconnected. I think I disconnected here. Okay. So again, if it's made of quarks, it's called a hadron. It basically, for those who are new to this, it just means we just named anything made of three quarks as hadrons. Okay. Now the reason why I had to go there is I want to go here and circle that H later. For now, I'll explain that later. If you have three quarks, if the object's made of three quarks, it's a baryon. So sorry, uh, not a baryon. That would be a meson. Yeah, it is a baryon. Okay, baryon. Okay, and then if it's made of a quark and anti-quark, it's a meson. Meson, like that. Okay, so three quarks. Oops, wrong thing. Meson is this. Baryon is this. Okay. Of course, that also means if it's made of three anti-quarks, that's gonna be an anti-baryon. Okay, let me just copy that. Now, for while I'm copying that, the idea here, remember, if I think I missed this part, I disconnected here earlier. Uh, when we say anti-quark or anti-baryon, okay, again, an anti-quark has for you to have an anti-quark, you must know what the quark is first. Okay, but from there, what you do is when you have an anti something, that anti particle will have the same mass but different charge from the matter particle. So for example, I say I have a proton, an anti-proton. That means the proton has a mass of 1, let's say 1, and a charge of positive 1. Then the anti-proton would have a charge of negative 1 but a mass of 1. Okay, so anyway, now how do you remember this for to make it easier? H, B, and M. Okay, hadrons are heavy. These are heavy objects, at least in the particle world. Okay, baryons are big, mesons are medium sized. You see the mnemonic here. Baryons are big, mesons are medium, hadrons are heavy. Medium and big can be considered heavy. Okay, all right. So okay, how by the way, how does quarks resolve the particle zoo problem? Because basically everything they discovered, the particle zoo, um, there's a lot of the heavier particles in the particle zoo were actually hadrons. Okay, so the heavier particles in the particle zoo were hadrons. Okay, the lighter parts are gonna be either two other kinds of particles. We'll just name them the bosons or the leptons. Okay, but we'll take a look at the leptons and bosons some other time. Okay, so for the who asked that, what was blah blah, right? Blah blah. If you're still there, does that kind of answer the particle zoo and quarks that you had earlier? That question. Hello. Okay, all right. Further questions you can ask later. Okay. Uh, okay. In context, it all makes sense now. So I hope that helps. Okay. So next one, spooky place and sine, cosine, tangent. What does it mean? Again, so let's do this quick. Sine, cosine, tangent. I'm guessing you're not. You're like um in grade no, seventh or eighth grade, right? I'm gonna guess that. All right. Sine, cosine, and tangent. I'm gonna put that on. Okay. The key idea here, before you actually go to what sine, cosine, and tangent mean, you actually need a triangle. Specifically, you need a right triangle. Since I cannot, since I don't, I won't be able to actually draw a triangle here. I'm just gonna draw it like this. So you start from a right triangle. Okay, so like that. Now, the sine. Before we even go there again, the important thing here about this is we know that in a right triangle, it is gonna be a right angle. So this is 90 degrees, and let's pick one angle, right? So this angle, let's say this is angle A. Okay. Uh, okay. Now one more thing we need to go through is we need to name the sides of this triangle. We know that this triangle's got a hypotenuse. This is the longest side. Okay. And we're gonna call this side here, this one here, adjacent to A. Now, a lot of the times, once you get used to naming this, you just call it adjacent side, right? It's called adjacent to A because adjacent means beside. Okay. Now, if you look at this, A is gonna go that way, and opposite A is the side, right? Okay, right. So what's the sign of, okay, so the sine, the cosine, and the tangent, they are definitions. They are not out of the blue things. Okay, you really need to know these definitions. Okay, so this, the definition of the sine of A, okay, I'm gonna write it as words first before it, and then that's basically writing it like sine of A, like that. And that is by definition. So again, definition, whoever came up with this actually said that this is what it means. It could have been anything else, basically. Okay, but anyway, this is gonna be the length of the opposite side divided by the length of hypotenuse. Now, in other words, it's just a ratio of sides. The sine of A is just a ratio of two sides. Okay, why does that matter? Because if you why is it a ratio, and why is this useful? Because if you have a smaller triangle like this, and let's say this is also angle A, you know that the relationship between these other lengths, if we compare these two things, if we take the ratios of the different lengths, we get the same ratios every time. So the ratio is an important idea. Well, not important in the important is not the word I'm trying to say. I think the word is, it simplifies things there, because we're just looking for ratios now, right? So when we're looking for ratios, we remove units, we remove everything else. All we now need to know is the ratio of the sides, and we don't even need to know how big the actual triangle is. Okay, so that's the first part. The second definition is the cosine. Okay, and that's equal to cosine A, and that's equal to, I'm gonna remove, I'm not gonna use the word length of anymore, but keep it like that. I'm just gonna write here the adjacent side, and you divide this by the hypotenuse line. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna rewrite that here. So sine A is equal to opposite side over hypotenuse, right? And then the cosine A, that's gonna be equal to, oh, by the way, I'll just use the word first, sine. Yeah, cosine A is defined as adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, now that's the definition, and these are the two definitions. Now the next part is defining the four other things. There are four other things, but we're gonna focus on tangent here. Tangent, I'm gonna use the word first, tangent of A. And then the other three things I'll just put here, tangent A, cotangent A, okay? And then we have the secant of A and the cosecant of B, of A. So you see here, we're basically defining it in terms of the lengths. What's tangent A? I'm gonna put that. Tangent A will now be equal to the ratio of the opposite side over the adjacent side. So again, it's a ratio, so it's going to give you some number. In some cases, so what do you use your calculator here for? Basically, when you see a trigonometric function like sine, cosine, tangent, the calculator will actually tell you the ratio right away, and then you can use that ratio to calculate these lengths later on. Okay, so that's the first one. Cotangent A is defined as the reverse of tangent. So this is going to be adjacent over opposite. Okay. Second is defined as um, this. This is again the definition. This is hypotenuse over adjacent, and the cosecant would be equal to the hypotenuse over what's the other one? The opposite side. Okay. For lower levels, like I said, 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, you are going to use only these three. Okay. Cotangent, secant, and cosecant, even though they're defined, they're rarely used. Okay. All right. So that's what it means. Basically, the sine, the cosine, and the tangent, or the sine, cosine, tangent of the angle is not does not refer to the angle itself. It refers to the ratio of the sides made if you have a right triangle with that angle. Okay. Is that clear? Blah. Whoever you are. All right. Thanks. Sorry, not blah. Spooky place. Is that clear? If you're still there, okay. Hopefully that helps. Um. All right. I guess okay. So we basically answered three questions, and I was able to discuss again um, exam tips. So later on, when you're taking exams, again, keep this in mind because in an exam, unfortunately, this is the reality of being in school. Even no matter how progressive your school is, tests will tests will always be there. Okay, and testing involves memory, so keep this in mind. All right. Uh, okay, Sinistral. You're welcome. Also, everyone who's on the stream, you're welcome. You're all welcome. If you have any questions later on, oh, I have a. Can I ask you guys something? If you do have a question and we're not on the stream, you can always ask it in the social media platforms, the other social media platforms. Okay, so let me go there. Um, all right. So before we end, and also to plug this again, I think the best way for you to ask me questions is either through uh, TikTok or Instagram, okay, or Facebook for that matter. So those three. YouTube, even though I have YouTube open a lot, I don't see the comments as often as I'd like. I get better notifications in TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you have questions before we go on stream, just ask it there. If I can answer it right away, I'll answer. Otherwise, I'll answer it on stream. Okay. Of course, on YouTube, you can follow us on this channel. Again, don't forget to like the video later on and subscribe if you haven't yet. Okay. Same thing with the other social platforms. Yeah, follow us and like the video there if you can. Yeah. Last thing, again, Twitch is just a backup. So if you follow us on any of those social media platforms, you don't have to go to Twitch. But if you'd like to watch it on Twitch as well, it's fine. Okay. Ah. Okay. So that's it. We'll end it here. So for now, we'll end the stream. So with this, again, I bid you a good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And don't forget to stay freaky. Have a good day. Bye bye now.